So I've had a lot of questions on my approach towards training in general, but especially leg training. Why is it 20 reps? Why is leg training so important? Why are you not promoting training 6 or 7 days a week? That's the big one actually. And so today I'll talk about training. So despite my upper body being on display on most of my videos, the lower body is probably more important for actual testosterone release. The studies are very clear on this. Pretty much every single study finds the same thing, and when that happens, that's what you need to focus on. Leg training leads to a greater testosterone release after the workout. The cortisol release is slightly higher, but it's very, very temporary. And if you get enough sleep, you get enough carbs, quality carbs, you get enough magnesium, enough minerals, the cortisol comes down very, very quickly, and it's not something to be concerned about. Living a high stress lifestyle is when you should worry about cortisol. Whereas with the testosterone release, that is also temporary, but it tends to accumulate. And if you combine that with fat loss and good sleep and plenty of sun and the diet and everything else we talk about, it definitely accumulates then. Cortisol, it will accumulate if your lifestyle is off, so you've got to be careful. But leg training, but specifically it's compound movements, so movements that hit your glutes, quads, hamstrings, all at the same time, so multiple muscle groups. So things like squats, leg press, deadlifts of any kind, lunges, what else is the Romanian deads, hack squats. There's so many variations of different things, but they're the movements to focus on. They're the big ones. Whereas calf raises, for example, aren't going to have the same impact. The total amount of muscle fibers that get stimulated is not even comparable to, say, a heavy back squat. And so those are the exercises that do it. 20 reps versus, say, 8 reps. There's not a huge difference. 20 reps has the edge. Plus, some other side reasons I like to say 20 reps is you're far less likely to get injured, which is seriously important for things like squats and deadlifts for 99% of the population. Most people aren't professional powerlifters. They're rushing around. They don't have time to become professionals at this stuff. So 20 reps is far safer. Plus it's good for your cardiovascular system in general, your heart health. And it's amazing for general blood flow, which has other benefits. So there's a ton of benefits for the higher rep stuff, as opposed to doing 1 rep maxes all the time, which is ego lifting. You're more likely to get injured. It's not sustainable. So that's the rep range side of things. And in terms of the training frequency, most people, again, are more likely to get injured. But if you're training 6-7 days a week, that is a really good idea. A really good way to let the cortisol accumulate, prolactin potentially. And even if you're an 18-year-old who sleeps perfectly and uses perfect form and eats the perfect diet, lean bulks, most people don't need to bulk, but you're still going to struggle training hard 6 to 7 days a week. Your cortisol will be lower, which acts almost as a ceiling sometimes on your test. Your test would be higher if you trained 4 or 5 days a week instead of 7. A lot of people's egos are tied into training all the time, but when you actually look at the numbers, guys who train hard 3 to 5 times a week are almost always better off than guys who train hard 7 days a week or 6 days a week. So that's that, and in terms of, that's the total amount of training. In terms of training legs, you want it twice a week is better than once a week. 3 times a week might be better than twice a week, probably not, it depends on the person. most of the programs I write for most people, especially for guys who are 40 plus, especially for guys who kind of need to be in a calorie deficit, they're training legs twice a week. Twice a week is great. That's what I do as well, personally. Compound movements, close to failure. So if you don't know what the RPE scale is, it's a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being absolute failure, your legs are shaking, you can't do one more rep. 9 is 1 rep shy of that, so you've got 1 rep left. Burning, it's painful, especially after 20 reps. It's very, very intense. And RPE 8 is 2 reps shy of that. RPE 9 is probably where you want most of your sets to be. And that's 2 or 3 sets, maybe 4. And you can see how these super intense training sessions are going to need time to recover from, otherwise it's going to be too much, even if you sleep well. So I believe that's it from a training standpoint. And again, we're looking at this from a numbers standpoint, a testosterone standpoint, not a bodybuilder who's on steroids, or an NFL guy who might also be on steroids, or a powerlifter who is definitely on steroids. We're looking at it from a testosterone standpoint. Total, free, DHT, all the stuff you guys are interested in. So that's kind of my philosophy on it. If you want a program that does literally everything I've just mentioned, which will, combined with the right diet, is absolutely going to take your testosterone higher. It's Testosterone Tripling Training, bit of alliteration. It's linked below. It's got some very good reviews on it so far. No one's had a bad word to say. It works, simple as that. So links below, check it out, and I'll see you in the next one.